Hey, what's up, guys? This video is on OLED. The fascination with the technology, the love that it receives, the hate that it receives, seems to be about 50-50. And I want to spend this video, or at least open up the discussion of why this technology is so loved and so hated at the same time. And it seems to be industry-wide, either in the media or on YouTube, talking to people in the community. Some either love it, some can't stand it. Talking to people at Best Buy, at PC Richards, at different small TV shops. Are they pushing OLED? Are they pushing LED? But I want to stay with OLED simply because I did several OLED videos. What you're looking at here is actually a plasma. So I'll get that out of the way right in the beginning. I did an OLED video, or two OLED videos yesterday at my brother-in-law's house of a 2016 B6. I've also recommended a Sony A1E, several OLEDs to people on Instagram, on Facebook, in my own personal life. My parents have an OLED, and it's probably the highest recommended display that I recommend for most people that I talk to, even though I don't own one. Now, I own a 75-inch Sony 900E. I also own a HD projector, and I also have a plasma. And what you're looking at is a plasma. Now, why am I showing the plasma? Well, they share some pretty similar strengths and weaknesses. And the plasma, though this is one of the late, great, last Panasonic Vieras, there's no reason to replace it. And for those of you that know me, I'm totally of the thought process of 1080p still being a viable resolution, especially when it comes to movies and streaming and things of that nature. Now, the plasma shares a lot of the same strengths, which is why I can totally understand why some people are afraid of owning an OLED, why some people hate the hype of an OLED. Because those of you that remember plasma being the end-all, be-all, and a lot of LCD owners at the time hated them. Hated them because they were too hyped, hated them because they weren't bright enough, hated them because of the image retention and the burn-in. They also hated them because they were so widely praised by all the media. At the time, that was a lot of CNET, smaller publications. Plasmas were always well rated above LCDs at the time. At the time, those LCDs were edge-lit. Projection LCDs also tried to copy the plasma technology and just couldn't deliver the even, beautiful picture of plasma. Now, what was plasma known for? Well, very similar, like I said, with OLED, very, very deep blacks. Crazy viewing angle. Doesn't matter how far to the side you get. There's no degradation of picture. Very lifelike colors. And just zero blooming. It's just, the image is so natural sometimes it doesn't even look HD. Sounds a lot like OLED. Now, what are its weaknesses? First and foremost, image retention, burn-in from static images being on the screen for too long. And until recently, OLEDs just weren't as bright as the competing LEDs, and same went for plasma. Plasmas in a store compared to an LCD, if they were in the wrong environment, a plasma always looked worse simply because the store environment just made the plasma look like it was off. OLEDs were suffering for many years for the same thing. The first few years they released, they were very dim. They had some motion problems. They had some vertical banding, some gray uniformity issues. They don't get quite as bright in terms of its white level. However, the deep contrast of the plasma and the OLED really does make it seem like it's much brighter than it is. This display, again, a Panasonic Viera, had a bad reflection screen, so that's the only reason, but I never really felt that it wasn't bright enough. It really wasn't great for gaming simply because it was 1080p and I was too close to it for gaming for a 65-inch display. But the consistencies between plasma and OLED still kind of reign. Simply that plasmas are legendary. People constantly talk about the Pioneer Elite. Kiro was one of the most famous plasmas that people still love today. OLED is much in the same vein. But here's the thing. Back in the day, people loved plasma or they hated plasma. They hated the hype that plasma received. They hated that they were, first of all, so expensive. And I think that's where a lot of the hate comes from in terms of OLED. They have come down in price, but initially they were so expensive. I think most people were just so turned off by that that they immediately dismissed it. Burn-in is a real issue. It does happen. Some people have burn-in immediately. So for me, that is its biggest fault is burn-in. However, if you have burn-in after the first 2 days, then there's something wrong with your panel. And probably my issue with burn-in, especially with LG, is the customer service. They pretty much just say, enter at your own risk. Even though they know it's a known issue, they're pretty much just telling you, hey, tough. That's what happens. So that's probably the one thing that makes me warn people who have small children, who leave TVs on all day long with a static image. My brother-in-law, he's very careful with his OLED, but he has older LEDs in the house, or LCDs. Those TVs stay on 24/7. His kids will start playing with them and they'll walk away. That would be a detriment within a few hours of an OLED for that, like Nick at Night, Cartoon Network, TNT image, or ESPN ticker you see at the bottom. That is a detriment. So for me, that's probably one of the only biggest disadvantages. For gaming, game modes have the ABL feature, which is auto light dimmer, which I don't love. I like my gaming as bright as possible, but playing God of War yesterday on his B6, which is also not as bright as the newer OLEDs, I had absolutely no problems with it because the black level was so deep. So this is where I need your help, and I need you to comment. And again, in a positive way, if you guys can manage it, is to speak on why you love it, why you have one, why you don't have one, why you don't want one. And I want to start that discussion. I want to see who responds to it in a kind way. Please don't jump on each other. If someone says they have one, they love it, please don't comment how much you hate it. I'll just remove that comment. I want things to be as positive as possible. Now, why do I do this? Simply because people ask me constantly which TV to choose. These videos help not only me get the message out, but the comments is where the real information is on a lot of these videos. If you comment and tell people why you have yours, why you love it, why you hate it, why you dislike it, it just really helps people, and that's all we're doing. Now, in order to get more views on a lot of these videos, as you can see a lot of times in the industry, you'll see, especially on YouTube, how much they hate something. And this is crap. The Xbox is crap, and the PS4 is crap, and PC is crap, and OLED is terrible. That gets views. I'm actually not very interested in that. YouTube is simply a hobby for me, and I just love to have this discussion in the community and have people just be as positive and helpful as possible. So if you're in a comment, if you have a comment, you have something you want to say, please feel open to say what you feel, and don't be worried about somebody commenting over you or flipping out on you. Just put down what you think. Tell me why you love OLED. Tell me why you might want one. More importantly, tell me also why you don't have one, or is it the price? I will tell you for myself, the reasons I don't have an OLED are very simple. I game on my downstairs display, my Sony 900E, 98% of the time. All the movie watching is either on this plasma or on the projector upstairs, simply because that's where my family is. My game room is simply for games. The OLED, the reason I didn't pick it up is at the time a 77-inch OLED was about $15,000. So a little too much money for me, and I knew they would come down in price, and I knew in the future they would get brighter and have a better feature set. So only reason, fear of burn-in isn't something to keep me away, which is why I'm showing you a plasma. This plasma is several years old. There is no burn-in, there is no image retention, and I have young kids. And believe me, I've had those moments where I run home to turn it off and freak out. So yes, do you have to babysit a display? Yes. Like any other high-end piece of equipment, a high-end car, high-end computer, high-end anything, you have to be careful. And if you're not somebody who can do that, if you're somebody who likes to leave your TVs running 24/7, if you like to run things hard, then an OLED is not for you. If you're someone, again, that loves to keep one channel on with the channel, logo in the corner, then it's not for you. It is somebody who is an enthusiast, who likes film, but my brother-in-law plays games on his quite a bit. I didn't see any bloom. I didn't see any burn-in or image retention on his, and he's pretty careful with it. He's not as careful as a lot of us would be. So what I want to do is, again, start the discussion. Why do you love it? Why do you hate it? Do you want one? Is price the only issue? Also, is it media? Is the media being paid to say OLEDs are the best? I don't buy that, but a lot of people believe that. So please, in the comments, start the discussion so we can all read them and get your feedback on why you like them, why you hate it. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so very much, and thank you for all the comments in advance. Take care.